Of Priest for Life, bringing you my daily diary for Monday, July 18th through Saturday, July the 23rd of 2022. So I started out early on my desk at Monday and in the chapel, did mass, broadcast it, taped it for broadcast later, and caught up on a lot of emails, got together with my administrative team for the usual breakfast time phone call, and then I was getting ready for a radio interview that morning too, but they had to postpone until a later day. And then I had the staff briefing at 8:30, and then I worked at my desk to prepare for a number of tapings that I had to do later in the day, getting some notes together, some research together, and some talking points. Then went into the studio at 11 o'clock and recorded a 45-minute class on the biblical meaning of Rachel's Vineyard. Now, as you know, I'm pastoral director of Rachel's Vineyard, the largest ministry in the world for healing after abortion. And we're preparing now for our international training conference that happens every few years. We're doing it virtually and we're pre-taping the talks. So that was one of my talks that I pre-taped Monday morning. Right after that, had a lunch meeting, and then 1 o'clock went back into the studio and was taping for the Right Side Broadcasting Network program that I do called Praying for America. Did that, and then more work at my desk until 2:30 when I went back into the studio and did taping for TBN, Trinity Broadcasting Network. Did that particular taping, and then right after that at 3 o'clock had a meeting with our finance team. So our finance director, who actually lives in Virginia, was up here, or I should say down here for the week, and had a meeting with her and other members of the department. Right after that meeting, I went back into the TV studio and did another Praying for America program together with our media director and with our political outreach associate. As soon as that taping was finished, I jumped on a Zoom call with national pro-life leaders, just a small group of us of some of the biggest organizations. And we were talking about strategy in the wake of the Dobbs decision and the overruling of Roe v. Wade. That meeting lasted over an hour. And then as soon as I got done with that meeting, I hopped on a phone call with one of our operations officers, and talked with him for a while taking my daily walk, and we caught up on a lot of things. I had a quick dinner, and then I went back into the TV studio for 8 p.m. for a live broadcast, again for our Praying for America program, and did some additional work at my desk after that program was finished. So that was Monday. Oh, well, some of the work at my desk, just to give you an idea. Let's see, getting data together for and giving the green light for the printing of some donor and bishop envelopes for mailings, preparation for upcoming leaders meetings, the monthly statement that goes out to our pledgers, finalizing the wording for that and giving the green light to print that, and then some plans for upcoming media and upcoming trips, which are many. So that was Monday, the 18th. Tuesday, the 19th of July, 2022, I got picked up at 3:30 in the morning to go to the airport. I actually did some work prior to that to make sure I had everything I need for the upcoming leaders meetings. Got in the car and worked on my laptop, both in the car and at the airport and on the plane on my way to Washington, D.C., on the following things. Finalized a new brochure about the Dobbs case. Finalized some notes for the Defending Life special program about the Dobbs case. Communicated with the production team about some plans for video productions. Prepared for the pro-life leaders meeting. Prepared an election follow-up email and meeting. Okayed a clergy exemption letter. Prepared for RSBN, and prepared for also a new intern that we are getting on our team. I landed in Washington, D.C., and went right over to our Washington, D.C. office. There, I met with our Washington, D.C. staff person, and we did some work there in the mid to late morning. I then went downtown to a restaurant to have a lunch meeting with someone who works over at the America First Policy Institute. We had a very productive conversation, lunch meeting. Then I went back to our Washington, D.C. office and continued to work with our staff person there until it came time for us to, till it came time to go to a 5:30 dinner appointment that I had with one of the workers over at Newsmax, one of the key writers and broadcasters over at Newsmax. We went to a nice dinner and had some very fruitful conversation there as well. So then, and I also had to check into my hotel, of course, for the night. That was Tuesday, the 19th. Wednesday, the 20th of July, up early, did some email work, including approving some mass intentions, new communication about our new intern, and also some plans for the National Pro-Life Religious Council meeting, of which I serve as president. Had an 8:15, or actually had a 7:35 radio interview, followed by an 8:15 radio interview, followed by going over to our Washington, D.C. office again and meeting with our staff person there, getting some work done over there at the D.C. office. And then also at our D.C. office location, we welcomed board members of the National Pro-Life Religious Council for our meeting, which went from 10:30 to 2 p.m. So we had representatives there from the Methodists, the Anglicans, the Lutherans, and a very fruitful time of discussion and planning. That meeting finished at 2, and right upon that conclusion, I got on the phone with some of our key staff, administrative staff, and we were working on plans for our state-by-state activities. That call lasted about 40 minutes. Then I continued working with our DC staff person, and then we both went over to the hotel where we met up with our executive director and executive manager who had flown in that afternoon, and we got ready to welcome National Pro-Life leaders for our evening hospitality there at the hotel. Meanwhile, in the emails I was working on, we were making plans for next January for the March for Life. We were finalizing some details about the EWTN special we taped about the Dobbs case. Also working very hard Wednesday on the Kansas initiative, the ballot initiative, pro-life ballot initiative that they are voting on in Kansas. Emailed various Catholic groups, the regular email from Priests for Life to Catholic groups that are part of the Catholic Press Association and Media Group, and then also some plans for upcoming travels. We welcomed the leaders in the evening. I led a special toast among these National Pro-Life leaders for the overturning of Roe v. Wade, and we had a couple of hours of evening hospitality and social with, again, leaders of groups that you would know on the national level. And then we concluded the day. Then Thursday, July the 21st, was the day of our 115 Forum meeting, as we call it. This is an all-day meeting of National Pro-Life leaders that we organize and coordinate. And so that began with a 6:45 breakfast at the hotel, and then going over to the Museum of the Bible, which is where we hold the meeting. Went over there, set up for the meeting. The meeting started at 8:30. I led them in a prayer, again, rejoicing in the reversal of Roe. And then we talked about that all day. We had various panels of legal experts, leaders of pregnancy centers, talking about the impact on the pregnancy centers, leading of abortion healing ministries, those leaders talking about the impact on that phase of the work of the movement, and and leaders also of direct action and protest activities like 40 Days for Life, prayer vigils, and so forth, the impact of Dobbs on that. So we had several interesting panels throughout the course of the day and individual meetings all day long with different leaders who were present, although I moderated the meeting and introduced the various speakers and gave comments myself. That meeting finished at 4:30. We went back over to the hotel, our administrative team that is, and then we went out for our own dinner there in DC before retiring for the evening. Friday the 22nd, I got up early, had to depart the hotel at about 4 a.m. to go to the airport, but there in those early hours, I was doing a couple of key emails and work on my computer, making trip plans for upcoming travels, did some video editing work, and also composed the text of a letter to our high donors and planned for some upcoming interviews. Went to the airport and got some breakfast there and got on the plane and continued to do email work, organizing tasks for the staff and tasks for the upcoming media interviews, upcoming op-eds, articles, getting things ready for those, email blasts going out, and also, let's see, the Kansas referendum. Yes, doing more work in regard to that. Flew back to Orlando, got to my office, and then right away, let's see, I had to go into some meetings with staff when I got back, began unpacking, but really didn't have too much time because then at 11:30, I had a taping in the TV studio for some of our broadcasts. Soon as that taping was over, I had lunch with our social media director at noon and with a new intern that we are welcoming to help with social media. Soon as that lunch was over, I went into our travel department and met with our travel coordinator about the details of upcoming trips I am making and invitations that I am receiving. When that meeting was over, I went back into the TV studio and taped a couple of different programs and a number of different short spots for us to distribute on our broadcast channels and our social media platforms. When all that was done, I got back to my desk and did some work as well as some additional meetings with various staff, culminating with a 6 p.m. Phone call with one of our chief operations managers, and took my evening walk, and then got some quick dinner, did some quiet work until I was awaiting, together with many others, the rally that President Trump had in Arizona. So he got on the stage late. By the time he did, it was almost 11 p.m. Eastern time, but I watched the rally speech, which was great as usual, and then went to bed right after that. Saturday the 23rd was a day that I was here at the office. I had to do a lot of work on a new prayer booklet that I'm writing called In the Company of His Saints. And this new prayer booklet will be ready pretty soon. Also did some detailed planning for the coming weeks. Did the broadcast mass live at 10 a.m. After the broadcast mass, with one of our video interns here, I taped 2 half-hour programs of Praying for America because I'll be traveling more in the days following, so I had to pre-tape these shows. Did a midday phone call while taking my daily walk, unpacked and then packed again for upcoming travels. Did a lot of work on the upcoming travels for the rest of the summer and into the fall, and continued working on that new prayer book. So that was Saturday. Worked well into the evening on Saturday, and then went to a local place for a late dinner about 9 o'clock, and then I went to bed after that. Daily Diary, July 18th to the 23rd, 2022. Thanks for following these updates. Talk to you soon.